Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. Hopefully everything is set up and we are good to go. Goodness griefus. Hi. So I'm thinking of maybe using this as the background for chat. I wonder if that would look any kind of good. Hey, chat. Oh, I would have to tell this thing to do what? I would need to figure out which of the target colors is the background. Make it transparent, make it indivisible, and then I'll be able to do that. Didn't think of that. Oh my gosh, I keep moving the wrong thing. Anyway, hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. I'm only a squire. You don't have to call me sir. But hello, Scott. Hello, Dukasoft. Dukasoft. But yeah, I like this graphic. I like this graphic a lot. I'm going to keep the purple line for today because I'm lazy. So, moderators, trusted members who help keep our community safe and fun for everyone. Automated realms, stream elements, Dukasoft. Yeah, our only real. Actually, I can't even call him real. He's still a non-bot bot, but he's the best one ever. You know? Sorry, I keep looking over here. I was just keeping an eye on a build that just finished, and we got some changes made to our current application. Okay, I'm here. You can start now, says Tyron. Hello, Diz, says Scott. Diz. Okay, so I guess I will start. Will I though? Do I have everything ready? I don't know. Anything soft can't be trusted. I'm sure you have a hard shell. Oh yeah. Okay, this is a great place to start. Main.saml. I'll have that open and I'll go to Blazor UI, our homepage. Homepage index. Okay, come with me to the desktop. Hockey ducky. Hockey ducky. Hunky dory. Hey, I wonder if I can use that same picture, but rotated. Or it is a type of donut. Or I can just swap dimensions, generate some new ones. And have those new ones crash. Why did that fail? I don't know why that's failing. Let's use this model instead then. Okay, I have some update. I don't know if you remember, a while ago I was having an issue with the combo box and the web view control, where the web view control was not updating the drop down portion of the select element. So when you move the WPF window, the list stayed where it was. So to show that, I'm going to go back into our hero, add a select with 4 options. Oh, right. I forgot that I could. Dang it. I already forgot what the syntax was too, but somebody told me what the syntax was. But it doesn't matter. We're just going to put in some numbers. They can all be the same. Doesn't matter. I was still having that problem until I solved it yesterday. So let me do this first. Okay, let's start the WPF. Oh, it is set as start. And it was crazy because I did a whole bunch of research, literally hours of research, and the solution that I came up with was probably the intended solution, but I did not see it listed anywhere on the interwebs when I was searching. And it's probably just because my searching skills are not great. Okay, so here's the behavior. I click this, I drag the window, and that stays in place. And so the solution that I came up with for this one, which was a while ago, was I have an event listener, or not even the event listener, it's part of the window lifecycle, and it's called on location change. And so when you start moving the window, resizing the window, whatever, it calls on location changed. And so what I'm telling it to do is on location changed, perform this method in this shared class. So this is one of my state classes. And so I have this method here that just says invoke this method, this event, and anyone listening to this event will get fired. And so the places that are listening to it are in main layout, in both the Blazor, in both the WPF and the, wait, why do I have two? Oh, one for subscribing and one for unsubscribing. So in main layout, um, I'm not listening, says Dukasov. You don't have to listen. You're okay. You do what you want to do. So what this does is it will perform the method handle collapse all select lists. This. Oh wait, did you see my Hotmail account somewhere? Is that why you're saying you're not listening? Because I am listening at hotmail.com. Literally. So anyway, what I do is I call this JavaScript function collapse select lists, which I also found out you can F12 on those and it'll take you to not the definition. Never mind. That happened last time and I thought it was. But anyway, so if we search for Duga soft interop, super Duga soft interop, we'll see that what this function does is it finds the active select list. If it finds one, blurs it, and then sets the focus back to it. So that achieves the functionality of, save this, hot reload takes effect, of collapsing the list when we start moving the window. And on top of that, I thought that that this just fixed the overall issue. However, so I did that in my work product, and then we released, and then they said there's still an issue where when you expand the combo box, move the window, expand it again, it expands somewhere else. And I'm like, what? So then I tested it in our production installed the actual production file, setup file on my machine, and sure enough, it was happening. Couldn't reproduce it in dev until I started doing some crazy stuff, like seeing if it's maybe release mode only or when the debugger isn't attached. And so when the debugger isn't attached, then we still see the same behavior. So what I'm thinking was happening was when the debugger is attached, because of all of the events that happen with the debugger attached, it's able to re-render and know that the thing moves or whatever. So I was pair programming this with my project manager because I was taking too long working on the other task that I was assigned, and he wanted this done. And I was like, okay, we'll focus on that. Anyway, moving on. So we were pair programming it, and I was just testing a whole bunch of things. And I'm like, this is what I would do if I was actively working on this work item. And so that was like running with the debugger detached. And then he suggested, which I didn't think to do, putting an event listener on the element and doing some kind of UI change, like changing the background color. And sure enough, that worked. So can I actually show that? I might be able to show that. And then you can tell me why this is a bad idea. Oh, it's you. On click, for example, handle combo clicked. You have a code behind file? You do. Private task. Okay, sync. State has changed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to toggle a Boolean just to make this thing change a color. Private bool do click change thing. And then we're just going to toggle it here. Okay, and that way over here, we will have a style attribute that just says change the background color based on whether do anything changed is, or do click change thing is on or off. Okay, so here is what that looks like. When you click, it changes color. So watch carefully. When you click, it changes color, but did you see that? Flashy, flashy. And he was okay with this. He's like, solved it. It's fixed. And I'm like, um, um. Not quite. So I'm like, let's do this in a way where we aren't like changing the color. So let's just do something like Z index. And we change it between 1 and 2. So I move it and I click and there's still that flash. So it is not fixed in my opinion either. But he's like, let's just go with that. That'll solve the issue. Give it a transition of 0.3 seconds. That should probably help. There's a better solution for this is what I'm trying to get to. But thank you for the suggestion, Gelator. Instead of trying to like force a render like this, there has to be, yeah, definitely not. There has to be some way for, just hide it, some way for this window, for this combo box to know that the window was moved, either as I'm moving the window or when I stop moving the window. And so I did a whole bunch of internet searches, as you do. I asked ChatGPT, I asked Bing with the Chat GPT stuff with it. I don't know what that's called. I'm assuming it's going to be called Bing Copilot with everything else. And I kept getting this notify parent window position changed, which I'll show you the article for it. So I kept getting only this with this notify window position changed everywhere. Stack Overflow, ChatGPT, like I said, and Bing AI to answer your question by searching Bing. And there was just all of this stuff. But if you notice, this is C++ code, and there was no C# equivalent. So I just kept doing searching and trying to figure out how do I do p invoke on this, and I couldn't find anything for that. There was this send message type of thing where you could use window position changed or something like that, and that kept failing, and oh, it was just such a pain. It was such a hassle until I was like, you know what? There really has to be something, because when I was reading all that, it has to do with the web view control. There has to be something in the web view control that I can do. So let's get rid of all of this ugly mess. No more manipulating the element. Oh, the other drawback to this is I would need to make a custom select element that every single one of them has this behavior where if you click on it, then it does the whatever kind of style change in order to make sure that it updates. And it's like, I don't want to go through and replace all of the select elements. Just especially if I'm going to use an input select sometimes for edit forms, that's just a bad idea. So I was like, what can we do with mashed potatoes? What can we do with the web view control? So I came into window where the web view control is. Web view control. The answer is down here commented out. But I was like, oh, first I had to name it because I didn't have it named. I was like, what can we do with Blazor WebView? We can dot Blaz WebView, dude, Blaz WebView. We can dot update style, update layout. None of these things worked. I tried all of them. Transform, didn't know how to use these. And I'm like, none of these. So I just looked through every single one of the methods and events and just checked to see if there's something there. Then I found this thing. It's like you have the Blazor web view, but underneath the Blazor web view is the actual web view control. So what do I have on there? And I looked through here and there was this update window pause. And I'm like, what does that do? Takes no parameters. Why not? Let's try it. So I tried that. Wait for hot reload. And sure enough, that was the answer. One line that you can add to your Blazor web view controls. I mean, this still means that you have to do it on every single WPF window that uses a Blazor web view control. But, oh, thank you so much for the follow, Qbiscuit. Qbiscuit. It's like a qubit, but Qbiscuit. So for every Blazor web view that you use on a WPF page, and this would also affect Maui, by the way. I'm all pointing up here. Maui. But in order for anything that is provided by the operating system, such as the expanded combo box options, is exactly the source of that part of my name. Awesome. I love it. Love it. Really cool. So are you into quantum computing? Are you into quantum mechanics? Are you just a nerd like the rest of us? And you like qubits? Um, sorry. So anyway, for future reference, use Blazor WebView, update window position until they can have the Blazor WebView control or the WebView 2 control inside of WPF projects behave correctly, behave as expected. Like right now, the the WebView control sits on top of the border, on top of the resize border area, which is a non-client area that we can't really control easily. You can in Windows 11 with the API, but it's a lot harder. Um, so if you use something like Window Chrome, which I'm using here in order to change the title bar color and everything, you lose the majority of the resize border width. But yeah, Cubiscuit says, I love learning about it all. Yeah, just a nerd. Awesome. Welcome in. And Deflux, thank you so much for the resub. 23 months total. That's almost 2 years. Oh my gosh. Have I really been here that long? Oh. We're nearly at our 2 years. Jess, we are. That's insane. But yeah, so at least now it's recorded somewhere that maybe one day AI will be able to index all of my videos for me. And I'll just be able to ask questions like which video, what timestamp did I talk about XYZ? Because I know I talked about that thing in one of our videos. So yay, we have a solution for our drop-down list to open in the correct place when you're using WPF in Maui with Blazor. Dun, 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 dun. Now let me get rid of the select list. Okay, so where are we in the project? For those of you that have not seen this project before, Dukasoft did post the link a little bit earlier. Excuse me. Breathe. But just in case you didn't see it, interesting. Oh man. Just in case you didn't see it, it is right here. So this is a financial management project that we're doing using Blazor, full stack development. And it's just a stream project. It's nothing fancy. It's not a work product or anything like that. But I hoped to be able to continue to show Blazor development. And I keep like biting back the whole web portion of this because even though the UI is written using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and C Sharp, very little JavaScript, by the way, um, it's still a cross platform project. So we can deploy this to Android, iOS, Mac, Tizen, Windows. And then I have just a standalone Windows version of it just to show how you, if you were targeting only Windows, how you could put a web view control in a WPF project. And then I have the two flavors of Blazor that we currently have, and I plan on figuring out how to adapt this for Blazor United when it comes out later this year. But we have the Blazor server version and then a Blazor WebAssembly version that uses the hosted API. I showed a project structure. Yeah, so looking forward to that. I showed the project structure that I normally use. I generally have a separate database project. If you have a fairly small application or self-contained application, it's definitely okay to put your database context, your migrations, and your models in the same project. No issues with that. I just prefer to have mine in separate projects. And then the models themselves are used throughout the entire application. So it doesn't matter whether you're running server side or client side. You can just use the database models, the entities. But the database context is only available on server side technologies, the API, Blazor server directly, and those are the only two that I currently have. But the other thing that I really, really wanted to do, and I keep letting myself down by not doing it and talking about it, so I keep feeling bad about it, is keeping up with unit tests and integration tests and end-to-end tests, which is kind of integration test-ish. Um, and I always forget what the third actual type of testing is, but whatever. A third, because I know there's more than three, but and it's because I don't do it enough, and I need to. Drug testing, exactly, Deflux. To make sure the app isn't on drugs. They should do that where I work. They should do it where I work. I live in Colorado. Enough said. Oh, it's sad. It's so sad. You're doing hot wing testing right now. Oh my gosh, I haven't had hot wings in a long time. I can't say a long time. I had some from Little Caesars 2 months ago. Whenever the last time we had Little Caesars was. Except they were barbecue wings, not hot wings. Or were they? I can't remember. I'm getting hungry. Stop it. Once we get on the topic of food, I have a hard time leaving that topic. Moving on though, so this project currently is intended, like I said, to show those programming principles for a full stack development process that a solo dev might do. And I also try to adapt processes that you might use during if you're on a team. So using work items or GitHub issues, depending on where your project happens to live. Um, Actually, I'm just going to click the link for the project. Um, and then Thindle was kind enough to contribute the GitHub action, the workflow for our gate for when you do pushes to main PRs to main. So essentially, I would have work items. You can see all of the ones that I've logged and then worked on and then closed. So I have a work item. I choose that work item. I create a branch for that work item, which you can actually do from the work item itself. Um, but I use the naming convention of work item number dash and then very small words to describe what that issue is. And my small words don't always make for a short branch title, but this one is number 29, add lookup list maintenance functionality. And so that's what this one is that we're currently working on. And then I use pull requests to merge into main once we finish the work item. And so this is just a good habit to get into if you're doing solo dev, because when you work on teams as well, or when you do community projects, it's a good way to be able to just split up work, have different things be worked on at the same time. But then when you do a PR into main, it runs this pipeline, which essentially is just a build. It should do testing, but again, the tests that I had before aren't currently passing. So I had to turn off the test part, which is kind of sad. Would have been nice. Oh my goodness. I just like have you had those emails, the spam emails where you either mark them as spam or you delete them or whatever you do with your spam? No test fail if you have no test. Exactly. And then like as soon as you do it, you immediately get more emails. It's like, oh, I hate that. I bring that up because I get that with my work. Like the stakeholders, they just, or not the stakeholders, I got a build message and then I cleared that message. And then immediately after clearing it, I got a message from from a stakeholder and then cleared that message, and then I got another message from my project manager responding to the stakeholder, and it's like it just kind of feels like the same spam messages. It's like, why am I even in this chain? I'm not contributing to it, nor do I need to be kept apprised of it. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. So Scott was talking about burgers. Got myself a big burger and kebab dudum. Dudum. I don't know how to pronounce that. Gomenasai. Um, Dendel says, hello, friends. Did you know that you're collectively infinitely awesome? And that's because 15th ish times infinity is infinity. Yes. Do you output the builds anywhere? I do not. So the CD itself would most likely be publishing to um, wherever I'm hosting it. But yeah, so the artifacts themselves would be created from the CI, and then I would have a CD that publishes those artifacts to wherever they live. But for now, like I said, the pipeline is just, does it build? And if it builds, then you can merge. Building is better than not building. Truth. So then Thindle said, I made a real dum dum a while back. I got robocalled by an Amazon investment bot. So I said that I wanted to speak to a human because I was bored and wanted to mess with them. I ended up in a number list that got sold over and over and got like 15 calls per day. I know the feeling. I feel for you. Really feel. Yeah. So deflex, it's only to see if the build can build. Doesn't mean it's error free, it just means that the build can build. And I don't know why this image isn't generating for me. All I did was rotate you. Can you not build at those dimensions, or did it just die on me? Pyrovius. Please don't open on the wrong screen. We're going to this screen. Thyrovius is no longer listening. What happened, Thyrovius? Thyrovius lost internet connection. That's weird. No idea. Okay, moving back to here. I am trying to launch the app so you can see what the project is about. And I use .NET Watch because it seems to work better with Hot Reload for me when doing the web development part of it, especially when it's WASM. It does a really, really, really good job most of the time. Oh, as you saw though, this is our purported last feature that we will be working on for functionality. I'm sure that there are other things that we could improve or add, such as in some kind of graph or roll up summary that you can show how much you've spent versus how much you've accrued. I don't know about using .NET Watch Run. When I use the run on it, it it doesn't really work very well with Hot Reload. It doesn't work as well as .NET Watch by itself. But high prog testing, I've never gotten breakpoints to work quite right. Oh, because you were talking about using breakpoints. So yes, prog testing's response. What he said. The other thing you could do is Control F5 to launch it and then debug, attach debugger. I clicked attach Unity, attach to process, find the browser that has it. I don't know if that really works. Anyway, app is running. Did I pull it over onto the screen? I did, like a magic. Okay, so this is essentially just an app that shows, again, full stack Blazor development, but I'm using it to replace my Access database, my personal Access database that I use for logging my transactions. I like to manually log my own financial transactions so that I can just keep track of how much I'm spending, how often am I spending, how often am I saving, etc. So I'm like, you know what? I know Blazor. I've been doing Blazor development for a long time now, like 5 years. Wow. And then I've done MVC before that, and I've been using the Access database since 2012, 2013, sometime around that time. And it's like I have since moved the data from the Access database to SQL, which was step one, and now it's like, why don't I go ahead and just move the UI portion of it over to Blazor UI and Logic over to a web app, and then maybe host it. A good idea. Must have hot wings now. Hot wings test passed. Now close the need dinner issue. Nope, still need hot wings. Still need hot wings. Okay, so currently you can see that the app does three different types of transaction tracking. And again, it's all manual entry. I don't plan on hooking this up to a financial institution to automatically pull your transactions from them, because there are apps already out there that do that. I'm sure that there are already apps out there that let you manually track too, but I've had this one for so long and I've had a specific database structure, and I just want my data to exist already. So you can enter a payment by selecting your transaction date, the payee, and then if you submit, it's like, we need an account. I need to fix the error message for it. So I'm like, okay, I'll choose an account. And then it should say, which it didn't, but it should have said, um, we need at least one line item. And I'm using Fluent UI to do that validation, or Fluent validation to do that validation. So I don't think that I have the rule to say must have at least one line item. Prog testing says, I'm creating a superb IoT dashboard, JavaScript interop, however. I mean, if there are no easy ways to just use C# to do it, it makes sense to use JavaScript interop. I mean, I'm often joking about how JavaScript is not ideal. Not really joking. I guess I'm pretty truthful about it. But there are times when you just need it, you know? Okay, so we have added those two transactions, and it's like, hey, this one I didn't actually add anything to. So let's make sure that I add anything to it. So I edit, I'm able to add values to it. And these monetary units are indeterminate. That's why we don't have any currency symbols. I actually paid for my credit charge, and this already processed on 3rd. So I can update all of that, and it immediately updates here. It immediately updates the summary. And then it's like, you know what? I didn't actually eat Findies in February. It was actually, the date was, European, and the month and day were switched around. Bye. We can delete transactions. Again, updates immediately up here in account summary, updates our transaction history. The account summaries are clickable to give you the filtered view of just that account. And you can also still use the same edit functionality within this window. So much fun, so much goodness. So all of the functionality still seems to work. What we are trying to do is find out a way. I ate 3 burgers for dinner. My sadness is gone. Nice. Oh, because man, I'm reading upside down. My data is stronger than your data. And the protesting said, I am using libraries that are using JavaScript. I ate 3 burgers for dinner. My sadness is gone. I can't find it anymore, but I remember there being a talk on one of the .NET shows, either Visual Studio Toolbox or on .NET or .NET Community Call of some kind, where someone was talking about creating a code generator that you point to the documentation for a JavaScript framework and it creates Blazor wrappers on them. I'm sure that was a real thing, at least in the dimension that I was in at the time or in the timeline that I was in at the time, but I can't find it for anything anymore. So I don't know if it's real or not. Now, 3Fun users can't find their menu. Did you type that in the wrong chat, Dukasoft? Or did I say something related to that? Which, by the way, if any of you are like watching a million different other streamers, I am all for that. If you're just lurking with me in the background, thank you for lurking. Thank you for being here. I hope you're having a great day. Bug there button. Oh, I see. My bag. Okay, so the functionality that we are now working on is finding a way to be able to add accounts, mark them as closed, and maintain our payees list, editing their names, um, adding new ones, setting them as no longer visible in the list. Live coding is a lurkadurka. He's a lurkadurka. Thank you so much for the lurk. So yeah, so we're working on currently just the UI for the ad, not really the UI, just the functionality. The UI will put itself together eventually. I'm not doing anything with it, not on purpose. So anyway, I want when you click on this wafer target scope thing, incorrect usage of icon, I would like for it to give us a modal where we can enter the details of a new account. Nice. Bang, I can't remember the command either. Bang 3. Live coding wanted this command. What about? What about? What about this one? Ah, oh, that's it. So yes, let's make the modal for the plus sign. As I mentioned before, I'm going to make an account selector component that will also contain the modal, but we're going to do it inline for now. So the account selector will be reused anywhere that we have a pick your account. Here's another one, and then here are 2 more. So we'll be able to add accounts in any of these selectors. But for now, I keep trying Thyrobius. For now, we're just going to make the modal right here. Nope, right here. The other thing I would really love to do is figure out how to create my own font icons that you can color and stuff. Like I know about IcoMoon, and I don't want to use a tool like that where you have to send your images to a web service that creates the icons for you. I wanted to try something more like FontForge, but one that actually looks good. This is going to be a modal, templated modal, a templated modal, question modal. Hi, Coco Jacks. Um, what am I using in the edit transaction modal? No idea, because it's not over there. Edito. I'm using a templated question. And show will be at bind show is what I said. Show add account. Now I have to figure out how exactly I want to represent the ability to edit an account. Like if we want to change the account name or starting balance or whatever. Yeah, we'll figure that out. So this templated question dialog, if you're not familiar with Blazor, is just HTML. Well, once you get all the way down to the root of it, it's just HTML code mixed in with C#. So like you can do if statements, you can do loops, you can do all manner of things. So it's just HTML that's all grouped together in one easy to use component name. And in this case, it is templated question dialog, which is made up of a templated modal, which is made up of a modal, which I put a card inside of it by default, where card is a whole bunch of HTML that makes the structure for a card depending on what you're adding to it. Do you have a card header? It requires at least one, it requires a card body and modal content. Anyway, you get the point, right? It's the power of Blazor. What? Who? Okay. Fried bull pasta. All right, so if we set this boolean to true, hello, I saved, right? Anyway, show account, show edit. Oh, that's what's happening down here. Wake up, son. So it's not gonna build. It's not gonna build. It's not gonna build. That's my song. Okay, how about now? Should build now. Oh my gosh, how am I missing things so much? So very much. Okay, anyway, it looks like it built. I don't know why it's still showing with the red squiggly. Jens was talking about this, I think, on Thindle's stream. And I mentioned it in our last stream where I was like, I'm not having any issues with the red squigglies being slow. Yeah, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Incorrect. I lied. So anyway, if we change this to true, then we're going to get a modal to show up. So let's watch that happen. At on click. change this to true. It's not going to have anything inside of it, but it'll be there. Maybe we'll get a runtime error that says we're supposed to have at least the question content. Or maybe it'll just show up. Are you done? Are you done building? It's done building. So push the button, and there it is, our nice little modal. We have a yes button, we have a no button. Oh, sorry, we have a yes button and we have a no button or cancel. Cancel will dismiss by default. So this is just the default behavior of our templated question modal. So let's give it some structure. Let us give it a confirm button CSS class, button primary, maybe. I don't remember if we're using Bootstrap. I always forget. I have so many other projects going on. Button text is going to say at shared localizer service dot, come on, dot confirm do I really not have a just confirm by itself? Shared localizer. How about add? I don't even have an add. Microsoft just now greeted Gokujax. And that is one for the road. Okay, so shared localizer service.add. Why are you like not actually giving me IntelliSense either? Or suggestions or whatever it's called. And then we have our cancel button CSS, which will be button link. It's what I generally use. I don't know if I use this for the other dialog windows, but this is what I typically use. And finally, our cancel button text will say shared localizer service dot cancel. Hey, we actually got suggestions. All right, let's see what that looks like once it's done building. This song is Apache Took a Softie. Hear it? Right, we have an add button and a cancel. I don't really know if this is button primary, but kind of looks like it is. It doesn't look like a typical standard button. It looks like the rest of the buttons that I use. And then the cancel is just a link, which I could also do as text, not text danger, button danger. Is this a thing? No, it's not a thing. Again, we're going to work on the UI. We are going to focus on it and make it beautiful. But not now. Now I'm having fun. We're going to keep playing with functionality. We have the question title, I think is what it's called. Title content. Title content. Maybe. Sure. And then we will add a key. for a dictionary. Add a coconut. Coconuts. Still talking about food. Goku Jack says, I'd like to upload a batch of files in Blazor. Do you recommend or suggest any approach to it? Yeah, use file input file. It is now part of the standard Blazor library, and it allows you to do multi-file, and you can process them in the component itself or send the list of files to another process. Gotta pop out for reasons that might be obvious later on, perhaps, possibly. Thank you so much, though, for being here, Thindle. We will see you when we see you, so enjoy the rest of your day. Question content? Maybe? Sure. I like this. So we're going to have a separate component called the add account form. I like that. I like that a lot. And so the add account form is going to go inside of our components folder. And it's going to go in our list management components folder. Add account form.razor.razor.cs, possibly .razor.scss. We might have some specific styling, some isolated CSS for that component. Should I convert each one to byte array or stream? Leave them as ifile. What does it make them? I think it makes them ifiles. So it also depends on what you're going to do with it. Are you going to read text from them? Are they images that you are trying to upload? Are they just anything that you're trying to upload to an API? Are you using Blazor Server where you don't even need to do any of that stuff? You have access to the iFile directly? Blazor Server is probably one of the easiest ways. So yes, any kind of serialized file, byte stream. So yes, again, are you saving them somewhere? Are you just processing them somehow? If it's an image, are you just displaying the image or are you uploading it? Yeah. What kind of process? If you are doing processes like sending it to a file server or saving them to disk or whatever, then again, it depends. Are you on the machine that you are doing this from? Because then it's just a matter of writing ifile.write. Let's add an input file to this component. Input file. Wait, that's my Sass. On change, handle file changed. And then you would probably have multiple because you said you're going to do a batch files. Private text, private task. And the signature for this has a iFile. It has to be an iFile stream or something. Copilot, can you tell me what you were going to write? Please? I really can't remember what the argument is. The argument is a input file change event args. That was way off. Input file change event args. Files e.get multiple files. So if you're only doing one file, then you would have e.file. But since we have multiple turned on, then we can use this get multiple files method. And let's say that we just wanted to list out for now what files we found. This gives us iBrowser file. Oh my goodness. I'm going to make it a list. List of iBrowser file. Ooh, and Blazor trains approach. We will take a look at that. Privyet is what that said. Files. And we'll just initialize it. We'll make it read only. We'll clear it here. I don't know Russian, if that's what you were asking. Говоришь по-русски. Русский. Yeah, I don't. I know none of it. -0 of it. What are you missing? Input file change event args. Oh, is it because awesome? Yeah, I can count in many languages, but that's about it. Oh, changed. I can understand Spanish fluently. A few dialects of it. I can't understand all dialects very clearly, especially not Portuguese. I've really, really wanted to learn Japanese because I want to live there someday. Okay, let me just pull up this UI real quick once it's done building. Oh, we're still oh, right. When you do the file add or the add new file, this thingy, and you add the .razor.cs, it creates it as an internal class. It'd be nice if it could see that I'm creating both a .razor and a .razor.cs and then make it a private class, partial class, but it doesn't. But that's okay. That's okay. I just got to remember to do that. Let's say that we wanted to list out the files. In files, create an li. Whoa, where did that tab come from? That was odd. And output the file.name, for example. Okay, so when we show this, we should now have an input file. You can click on it to choose files, or you can drag and drop into it. It gets that by default. So let's just do drag and drop. And the files that I am going to choose come from random inspiration. Yeah. So these are some pictures that I generated with the prompt as the file name essentially, and the seed and the I don't know what they're called, iteration number. So I'm dragging, I droppy, creates 4 files. Oh, I didn't actually assign those, I didn't populate the list of files. Files.add range. We didn't really need to do this in 2 steps, but I did. Okay, it is reloading. Add, drag it droppy, Cool. And there you go. So now you can see that it found those 4 files. And if you wanted to, then you can access stuff in each file. I'm just going to do it this way. Such as in the stream, the file stream itself. I haven't seen this method. Request image does what? Attempts to convert the current image file to a new one of the specified file type and maximum file dimensions. And it gives you back another file. So converting images to different types. Interesting. But let's do something less interesting. Instead, let's just have a private read-only list of string. And we'll call these base 64 images. Which means that if we give this thing anything other than an image, it'll probably break because I'm not going to do any error checking since this is just a sample. But the way that we would do this is we would get the file stream. So we would use an in-memory. Oh gosh, can I remember how to do this? We would use an in-memory stream. We would populate that memory stream with the read stream, and this needs to now be async, which is what that's complaining about. Copilot's going to remind me, so it doesn't matter if I forget. Tab done. Then we're going to get the file bytes, which is going to be memstream.2byte array to array. Then we're going to turn that array into base 64, and we're going to add it to the base 64 images. So that for each of these, we will have the let's do it this way. I'm going to make this a tuple. It's lazy, so lazy. And then we're going to add file byte array. Oh, I promise I will click on those. I was having too much fun doing this and I forgot. So for each var file image in base 64 images, file name and image source equals image. Oh, wait. We also need the, what is it? Base 60 data colon. I know that there's like a base 64 at the end here and a comma, and you start with image PNG. Well, the actual type, semicolon. Does this look right? This might not be right. Image source base 64, please. Data colon image slash PNG. I can't believe that was right. I don't need to convert to base 64 here because I've already done it down here. Oh, this is just my code. Okay, cool. And I'll just do a manual BR instead of any styling because lazy. Okay, so now what this does is it'll show you that it's also able to read the file bytes. So if you're sending this to an API, GokuJax, you could use multi-stream and have this be a file, multi-part stream, and have this be a file where you supply the byte array. And then you can also do the same with using a memory stream to save to disk, although there might be a direct file.save. Maybe not. Yeah, there isn't a file.save. But if you're saving directly to disk, then you can use memory stream at this point. Nope, not right. I forget how to do it. Doesn't matter. You know how to do it. That's all that matters. So let's just show that this does what we expect it to do as I alt tab 16 times while I try to figure out where I'm trying to go. Drag it droppy. We get all 4 images. I can't scroll because my templated question dialog doesn't allow me to scroll. But we would be able to see all of the images next to their file names. And you got this little guy. Okay, so now that that's demoed, let's head on over to Scott's recommendation. Blazor Train has a suggestion for how to do your upload, where you can read stuff. Oh, he's doing it in chunks, which is even better, because what happens if your file happens to be many gigabytes that exceed your memory? I love that. And then you can get the file name with just extension, or file name without the extension, just the extension. Man, yeah, this is a great approach. Carl Franklin is he's high up on my list of really cool people. But yeah, that's really cool. Doing it in chunks, fantastic. I haven't had to do that, and we've had files in excess of 200 megabytes, but I haven't had to deal with gigabyte size files. So yeah. But yeah, this is on server, by the way. So this would be very different if you were trying to do it using an API that you're sending it to. The chunks part would all be the same. The difference would be you need to tell the API how many total chunks you're going to send to it, because in most cases, your API is going to be serverless or at least stateless. And so it will need a way to associate the bytes that you're sending to it with the file that it's been working on and which chunk it is, so that on the server side, it can put them back together on disk in the right order. Especially if you're doing it asynchronously and sending multiple chunks at the same time. Yeah, that should be it for that explanation. So now here is Scott's version of the input file, which you take a specific browser file. So that's a little bit different than this, because if you saw, this takes a input file change event args, and he is taking just one file from the input file event args and processing it here. And so here's a version of using that method that I hadn't seen before, because I haven't really needed to use this lately, of request image file async, where he wants to convert whatever the file is to a JPEG with a maximum size of 400, I think it was width by height. And then he is reading. And then I don't know what read exactly is either. And then here is the output preview image equals. And so um, I would show you an app that does a lot of image processing that I use on occasion. So as you know, I've gotten a lot into Stable Diffusion, generative models, etc., and playing with it, not like learning how they work or anything, just playing with it. That's all. And so I wanted a way to look through all of the images that I generated and decide is this an image that I want to keep? And when I keep it, I want to keep both the image itself and the generation information. So I have Stable Diffusion outputting a text file that includes the prompt that I used, the parameters, so which sampling method, how many steps, what are the dimensions, which model, did I use any additional networks such as LoRa's or what's the other thing called? Textual inversions. So that, and the seed, so that I could recreate the image if I wanted to, regenerate it, upscale it, do whatever I wanted to do with that image. For my personal use, of course. Okay, that ends our segment on talking about input file. Questions? You are quite welcome, Cookie Jacks. And if you ever need to reference this again, one day in the future, we'll be able to index videos. Well, I mean, it's already a thing. Like Google will index YouTube videos and give you checkpoint timestamps in those videos where the speaker is talking about the particular subject you're searching for. But one day I'll be able to do that specifically on my set of videos. Maybe. Okay, so Scott is explaining to me because I don't know what read exactly async means, but he's saying read async reads a sequence of bytes from the current stream asynchronously and advances the position within the stream by the number of bytes read, whereas read exactly async reads exactly the specified number of bytes from the stream asynchronously. If the end of the stream is reached before the specified number of bytes have been read, an exception is thrown. Why would I want to use read exactly then? I mean, I guess like if you are, yeah, it just sounds like if you use read. Read and specify a number. But yes, Goku Jacks, I do. I post these videos onto the YouTubes no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream because as an affiliate, the content needs to stay exclusive to Twitch for 24 hours. But then after that 24 hours expires, it is available on the YouTubes. So you can see all of the posted days of the project on There Was a YouTubes. So 40% of the image was cropped using read async, where read exactly async fixed it. Interesting. I have a playlist specifically for this project, and then a playlist where I was struggling and banging my head against the wall for getting the title bar to change colors according to the theme that was picked in the UI. Yeah, see all of this hands and hair stuff? My hair's about this long again. You'd think I just recorded this yesterday. Here we go. There's some UI screens. I think this was just setting it up. Wasn't even doing any of the theming yet. Yeah, I was just setting up the theme picker just now. at the end of the stream. Oh, I was gonna say I saw green. Gwen. We made a Gwen theme. We made a Boo theme. We made an orange theme. We made a dark theme. Yeah, you can see the title bar is actually changing colors, but I have to like click off of it and then click back onto it. Anyway, orange juice. Exactly, Scott. You know how to pronounce it. Did one line get a haircut? I probably will cut my hair either tonight or tomorrow night. Spoiler alert, because I want it to start growing back out by the trip that I'm going to take in June. But I don't want it to be too short or too long, and I think this week or at least next week is going to be the perfect time to cut my hair so that it grows to the right size by the time we go on the trip. On the trip, on the trip, I'm tripping. This window, this is what we're working on. We're populating information for the ad account. So what would our ad account form look like? We need an edit form. We need I don't know, a div. I'm just winging it. It's going to be a form group is what it's going to be. And it's going to be the account name. What else do we need, Copilot? Slash actual pilot. The account number. We don't need that. We're not storing account numbers in this app, but nice try. We need, what else? What else do we need? A closing div. Why do we need a closing div? T. Williams says, my wife got a haircut this weekend and I realized no man has ever won a game of Notice Anything Different About Me. um, I was going to make a joke, but I didn't. The end. Anyway, we're not doing account number. There is no such thing as account number. Why aren't you giving me errors? Account number is not a thing. Dear sir or madam, sir or madman. So we need to give this thing a model and then on valid submit and all of the validation stuff for it. So for the model, we're going to use a new class. And for now, again, I like doing it this way just because it helps me be a little bit more loose with how I'm coding things up. But I'm just going to put the class here. Account entry view. Can the model be good looking this time? I don't know. I'm the one making it, so probably not. Okay, so we know that we're going to need an account name for it. We need an account type, public string account type text, which we're going to get the account type ID. Value text is what this is. We're going to get the ID from that. So this is going to be from a drop-down list. We need the public date time, date opened, sure, why not? I'm going to make it nullable so that when the field first shows, it doesn't show 11-1900 or whatever. Maybe it shows 110001 in these apps, but like in Access and stuff, beginning of time is 11-1900 because reasons. Because of the way numbers work. My lips are super duper dry. Drawing your attention to my lips. My lips. Click, I was gonna say amount. Double initial amount. What do we call it? Opening amount? Anyone have a good name for this? No requirements. No requirements to answer that. Public int account name. String, you're going to be required. You're going to be required. Oh, which I don't need the equals default at the end if I put required. Wasn't there something about like required only works on the property initializers? I can't really remember. No, we are not. We're not doing that. Thanks. What else do we need for opening an account, for adding a new account? What other information do we have about an account? Let's not use that one. Let's use this one. Name, close date. Yeah. So really, name, account type, and then the date you opened it and the initial amount will prompt us to create a new deposit for initial deposit. Or starting balance. That's what it's called. Starting balance. Emptied my water. Okay, so we are going to need a private account entry view model. Account. The end. Initialize it to new for now. Again, we may use this for the why? Why are you angry at that? Oh, because object initializers. Crap, we can't just create a new account name string.empty. You know what? You know what? I'm too lazy for that. Are you good? No, it's still not going to allow me to do that even if I'm specifying a default value. Annoying. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I may as well just make it nullable. Then I'll use Fluent validation to tell this thing that we have to have an account name, we have to have an account type. We can just start with data annotations. Okay, so we're going to use this account in here, modelo equals pasta, and then on valid sumbit, which is going to be kind of difficult. I've always had struggles with finding out how to do this type of thing. This is going to show up in a dialogue. That dialogue has two different portions, which are which are the the content portion and the footer portion. So these buttons here, the confirm button and cancel button, those are going to be the things that, or I guess the confirm button only, are going to be the things that submit this form. So I don't really know how to trigger the submit for this edit form. When the buttons are elsewhere. Are you planning to talk about gRPC, microservices, and any other advanced topics? I I can. I don't know much about them, about microservices in particular. Like when it comes to describing the types of technologies that I use, if the name isn't in the actual technology itself, like it's a design pattern or something, then probably not. I mean, I'm not going to really know that that's what it is. So, for example, microservices. I don't know how to fully describe what a microservice is or what architecting your application using microservices really means. Like, is that specifically having a whole bunch of GitHub functions, not GitHub, Azure functions, or individual applications that serve one purpose? If so, then no, I'm not using microservices, nor am I versed in architecting an application that uses microservices. If it's just the fact that you have individual services for performing different tasks, then yes, that's how I structure things. Hello, the Z-Man. The Z-Man. Thieves. Eamon. Bless you. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. But gRPC, maybe. We can use gRPC to have the application talk back and forth. I'd rather use Signal R, but if I had any server to server communication, put everything in the file called classes, then I would be using gRPC or any kind of like direct communication that uses that messaging protocol. Nice to see a bit of the milestone reaching. Waiting for the 150-day. Thanks. You know what though? We got a lot done. This is the last thing in our issues list, which is somewhere back here. Here. Issue. Here are our remaining issues for functionality that we had planned out for the application, which is what we're currently working on. And of course, there's going to be more that we can add to it because there's always room for improvements. But as far as getting it to a point where I could start using it personally, we're pretty close. Okay, what are you angry about? I have no idea what it's angry about. Oh, and then this is going to be an. I'll just grab the edit transactions and let's do payments. We'll grab one of the input types, such as in line item type. And instead of line item, this will be the account type. And this is going to be account types, which I have not created yet, but we're doing that right now. Right away, as you were. Private list, sure. Of account type view model. Account type view model. Account type lookup. Account type. I don't know what it's called. This is the first time that we're using the lookup list for account types. Lookup item view model of lookup account type is what it is. Nothing super special. Whoops. Lookup type. No, account types. Stop making me write lookup. Account types. Null at first. On override task on initialize async. What is up with my IntelliSense, man? Protected override. Gosh. So then we're going to start this with we need inject private. I look up list state. Call it lookup list state. Then we're going to do await. How did I miss that? I'm still learning how to type. Come in as I await. Lookup list state initialize async, because we want to make sure that our lookup list state has populated all of our lookup lists, and the initialize async has logic in it so that if something else has told it to start initializing, this thing will just wait essentially until the initialize is complete, and then it'll come back to this uninitialized stuff. Async. And we did that on Monday, Moon Day. Then we will set account types equals lookup list state dot get lookup items of type lookup item view model of lookup account type dot to list. Okay, so what that should do for us is give us a drop down, select element that has a whole bunch of account types. I still don't know why you are angry. Please don't be angry. Return type block. Cannot convert lambda expression to intended delegate type because some of the return types in the block are not implicitly convertible to the delegate return type. What? 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 What even are you saying to me? Shared localizer does not contain account name. Let's start there. Ooh, Oh, and why are you not using my dictionary? Okay, do I have anything for account name? Account name row header, but nothing that specifically says account space name. And that would be the thing that I want. That one should be good to go. Then here, account type. Okay. And now we have our shared localizer service account type. Oh, anyway, let's just see if this shows up. Let's see if this builds. It does. It builds. Now let's see if it shows up. Excuse me. does showing up. Hi, and there's our account types. Okay, so we can specify the account name, the account type, and now we need the starting balance and open date. That isn't quite right. Good try. Stop it. We're just gonna copy this. Pasta. Oh man, I really want to make it a date time input field that acts so much better than these. You are account what? What did I say these two are? Starting date and starting balance. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Starting balance. Open date. Starting balance. Whoops. Open date. Date. I did this wrong. So you're going to be an input number, starting balance. And hopefully, because the starting balance is a double, it will know that the number type, the increment that we want on this, is decimal. But we might actually need to specify step to be hundredths. What's wrong with the input date component? The thing that I don't like about input date is if you accidentally type the date wrong, it clears everything out. Nani date opened. Oh, you were being trolly. Trolley. So like if I was starting to put something in here, 23, and I'm like, no, I meant that to be. Wait, why did that one not actually? Oh yeah. So like if I start typing the year in wrong, and then I'm like, no, I meant 2023. What is going on with this input date? It's not like deleting everything the way that it normally does. Is that different? That was different behavior than I'm used to seeing in an input date field. Like what I'm used to seeing is if I start typing a date, and let's say that I use 31, which is an invalid date, it would have cleared the whole thing out. And then if I started typing in a year and I'm like, wait, I meant to type in a different year and I try to delete to start over the year, it deletes everything. But it's not doing that at the moment. That's kind of exciting to me. I really like that. Okay. So we have the UI and the inputs for it. So now I need to solve the problem that I was talking about where I have no idea how to submit this form. So I'm going to try a few things. I'm going to guess at this and then we'll do some internet searching if I can't figure it out. I'm going to create a edit form reference for this thing, and it's going to be an edit form of T, I think. Kind of doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just going to be an edit form, but it might be an edit form of T, where T will be add account or account entry view model. We'll call it our form because lazy. And we need a private edit form. It's not generic. I totally thought this thing was generic. Okay. And that way we can have some kind of event that we can raise on this component that says submit form, which will cause underscore form to validate. And then if it has validation errors to display, oh, speaking of, to display those validation errors, we can add the data annotations validator. And I'm just going to use a summary for now. Typically what you would see is a validation message for, and then the field underneath each so that you can see if you have an invalid account name, then directly underneath you'll see in however you style it, the validation message for that particular field. But since it's a small enough form, I'm just going to use a validation summary. Is there anything like an additional class? Okay, so just class. I think you can do self-closing with this. Okay, so then I still don't quite know what the most appropriate or correct approach is for firing off this submit form. So what I'm going to do is create a public event task of, sorry, function of task. Maybe we'll send back a bool. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, function of task, that will be submit form. No, I'm doing that wrong. It's just going to be a public method. What was I thinking? Public bool, task of bool, submit, and it's just going to return whether it's successful or not. Submit form. It's going to return true for now. And what this should do is take our form. So first we find out if underscore form dot context, edit context is not, is, oh my gosh. is is null. We'll start with is null. That's all that was happening. This is always difficult for me when I've done so many things that I've run into before that I don't know if there's still a. Thank you, Scott. That I don't know if there's still a thing, but if I set this as a nullable for my reference, I have received errors. I've seen errors where this thing will never populate with the reference. But Scott is saying he read somewhere that at ref objects should be nullable, which I'm happy to try out because that's what I intuit. That's it seems normal for me. It's nullable until it's populated on render. So anyway, if form or the edit context for that form are null, then return false. Return task dot from result for now. It'll go to false once we turn this into an async method. Otherwise, we will validate it, and if it's not valid, then we'll also return false. Otherwise, we will do the actual submit logic. And then depending on whether that's successful or not, we'll return true or false. Okay, so what we would need to do in order to get this to work the way that I'm expecting to is in that templated question, which again, it's going to be its own modal, its own component. Where is this thing? You there. So let's go ahead and move this into its own component now. List management. Add account modal. Dialog. Dialog. Dot razor. Dot razor. Dot cs. Dot razor. Dot scss. This time I will remember to go directly here. Change you to public partial. Stack Overflow suggests this. Allow null private modal. Yeah, that would be cool. Do you have a link to it so I can upvote it too? That's really interesting. So I've never seen that. Oh, I'm not logged in. How am I not logged in? I don't feel like logging in right now. But yeah, how have I never seen allow null? So like what this would look like for us is instead of making you nullable here, we would do allow null attribute because we know by the time we use it, it'll never be null. But that means that I won't be able to use the question mark. Like this would be incorrect because we're saying that edit form will never be null. Yeah, I would use this more on my injects, for example. Because I know that by the time my component loads, my injected service will be available. My injected object will be available. By the time I hit any of my lifecycle functions. But is that any better than just putting default like this? I don't know. I'll explore. I'll think about it some more. Okay, so I wanted to put all of the, oh man, I wanted to put all of the, Control Shift V, all of the, dang it, I lost it from my clipboard. Templated question coach into the add account dialog. Show add account. I'll save that as soon as I add the show parameter. Public bool show. Make sure it's a parameter. Public event callback. And this sets up two-way binding by adding the same name as the parameter that we want two-way binding on, followed by the word changed as an event callback of that type. Marcus says, I guess that it makes more semantic sense in my brain anyway. Which one, the equals default bang or the attribute? The attribute. Yeah, because default bang is like the null forgiveness operator. I think we had that discussion about it where it's like, this is going to be null for objects. It's going to be null for any just classes, user classes, etc. Non-value types. Um, non-nullable value types. No, you know what I'm trying to say. But the whole null, not really kind of syntax, it seems kind of confusing to people. Unintuitive, just wrong sometimes. Yeah, Scott uses it too. Okay, so for the account dialog, we need the public override set parameters because we're going to interrupt it public private bool underscore show prev show. So first we're going to say if not prev show equals current value of show, then we are going to check to see, oh, and show changed has delegate. Then we're going to await invoke async show changed. And as you can see, Scott, I am still using the same approach that you mentioned to me. That is a really good approach for handling this set parameters. I liked it, so I'm keeping it. Show equals show and underscore prev show equals show. I didn't actually do any more research about it, but it made sense where because we are doing some kind of await functionality between doing the actual set and we're using the parameters from that set in our function, we want to make sure that we actually set the parameter up here so we don't lose any synchronization as we are doing this process down here. Oh, and actually we don't even need the show equals show down here because that's happening right here. And the market said it seems like it's just a workaround to use the exclamation point. It does. It really does feel like a workaround and not intended functionality. But you do have the required keyword that you can now use. But required also means that as you're initializing the object, you must specify a value for it. So you can't just type new. And you are now going to bind to regular show. And so now we'll have everyone listening to the correct value of show. I'm just going to make sure that the dialog still does open up, but we're going to have to finish this out in the next stream. Day 180,094. Are you going to refresh? It just refreshed. I think I saw a refresh. And the dialog still opens. And the dialog does close. Let's do some other render just to make sure that the value of the underscore show add account did change. If it didn't change, if the underlying thing that shows and hides this dialog, if the underlying variable value didn't change, then we would have seen the dialog show back up when I caused another re-render. Oh, just like that. So no, the two-way binding did not work the way I expected it to. So there has to be something else that gets called that isn't this. We're going to have to investigate that. Okay, so this is not triggered when the underlying templated question dialog show changes. So what I have typically done is I've made show into a full property, and in the set, if show is changing, so I still have a previous show Boolean variable. So if show is changing, then it does this show changed has delegate, but instead of awaiting show change.invoke async, it just does show change.invoke async because in the set method of a full property, you can't use asynchronous methods. So it's like not a good approach. And I thought that this was the right approach to doing it, but that is also not quite working to do the two-way binding for this here, to change this show add account to false from this dialog. But we'll figure it out. We'll make this a to-do. We'll pick it up in the next stream. But for now, that's going to be the end of my stream. Where am I? I'm lost. Help. Somebody help me find my way. Thank you. Okay. You there are going to get to Bika because I like this picture. I like this picture a lot. Okay, so yeah, we are going to end the stream here. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I really enjoyed your company, your suggestions, your information, you're the everything. You are amazing peoples, and don't you forget that. Findle is still on, so we are going over to raid the Findles, the Findles, the Findles. As soon as my commercial goes away. Waiting on a commercial. Okay, /raid Findle. If you guys have not seen Findle, he is a fantastic .NET developer who's working on modernizing an ASP.NET 18-year-old project. Not even ASP.NET, just ASP Classic Web Forms to ASP.NET using framework. And then he's going to .NET Core, and as soon as he gets to .NET Core, he'll be doing the admin screen for it using Blazor, and then just continue improving it as he does. Anyway, it's my favorite type of project. I'm starting to get distracted because I'm starting to already think about the work that is waiting for me. I got like 5 emails just now. I don't know if you heard my phone buzzing like crazy, but there is work waiting for me. So I am going to head back to that. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will post this video to the YouTubes no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream. And feel free to join us on Discord. Friday is community day, so feel free to join us then. And that's about it. Ciao for now.